Alright bro, look, at the end of my Musashi video, I said I could not wait to see what Baki-Dou had to bring next, so I waited. And was blessed with even more lunacy. Now I'm going to put that Musashi video at the start because it covers episode 1 through 13. And the next part of the video is going to cover 14 through 19. But before we begin, make sure you like the video if you enjoy. Subscribe for more. And if you want access to these videos as soon as I'm done recording them, and your name at the start of every video, consider joining the channel and becoming a member. Alright bro, look, so Baki-Dou just released, and the insanity meter's already through the roof. Cause what do you mean we literally start off with Baki running down the stairs because he's bored, and then got challenged by a heavyweight MMA fighter who has been the champion for 7 years. And all Baki did was grab this man's noggin and shook him up like an unopened ketchup packet, while trying his hardest not to yawn out of boredom. With a start like that, you might be wondering, geez, where is the climax gonna be? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this show has one of the climaxes, but it's full of Baki nonsense nonetheless. Anywho, before we get started, like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more, and if you want to get access to the audio of these videos as soon as I'm done recording them, and your name at the start of every video, consider becoming a member of the channel. Now, as I stated earlier, Baki is bored after that fight with his dad, because nothing interesting has happened since then. And even though his life is at risk right now running down these stairs, he is somehow yawning out of boredom. And in the underground arena, bro is dogging everybody he comes across while trying not to yawn out of boredom. And the wildest part is, Baki is not alone. Every other Baki fighter are doing extremely intensive training. Like Dobo is doing waterfall training and yawning. Maltabe is also training his ass off, but we're gonna come back to him later. Kosho Shinogi is also training his ass off, so much that he's spending all his money on duct tape. And Kureha is doing one of the hardest exercises he can find and is yawning out of his mind. Jack is, of course, doing drugs. And bro decides he's not tall enough. He wants to be 8 feet tall. So he goes to get another leg lengthening surgery. And during one of the most painful surgeries ever, this man could not stop yawning. Everybody is bored. Like, I swear the Baki characters should think about becoming rappers, because these guys are genuinely allergic to peace. Anywho, we find out that Tokugawa is up to some devious actions. Bro built one of the most advanced labs known to man, all for a single purpose: human cloning. Yeah, this new season of Baki just threw all caution to the wind, bro. Now we have cloning. And who does he plan to clone? Well, it's none other than the most dangerous swordsman to ever live, Musashi Miyamoto. And when bro brings the prime minister to see the lab, Brody was flabbergasted. He's like, yo, I did not know about it. How did I not know about any of this? Like, this scene makes the prime minister look so useless. Tokugawa basically runs the entire country, I swear. Anyway, while they work on cloning Musashi, Baki is training alone. And I kid you not, this man starts hearing Musashi's heartbeat. And bro's like, whose heartbeat am I hearing? Even crazier is, he can tell it's none of the other people that he's already fought. And even during his matches in the underground arena, he's hearing this heartbeat. And now the cloning is finally complete. Musashi has been reborn. But then we pan to Hanayama, who's also bored out of his mind. And this man gets so bored, he decides to challenge Yujiro to a fight. Imagine being so bored that you see nothing better than to throw your life away. Tokugawa's talking to this man and he's like, Hanayama, after what Yujiro did to you 5 years ago, the trauma should have been dug into every cell of your body to never fight this man again. And you're telling me right now that you're so bored that it surpasses how fearful you should be of Yujiro. Anywho, Yujiro accepts the fight, of course. And Hanayama starts off crazy, hitting this man point blank to the face. And Yujiro didn't even dodge. Mans took all of Hanayama's hits and was even trash talking this man. And when Hanayama goes for another strong ass punch, Yujiro uses hand pocket, palms his entire face, and sends him through a random shot. Well, that'll teach Hanayama next time he's bored, go learn tap dancing or something. Now, after they finished cloning Musashi, bro had no brain activity. And all the scientists were sitting there arguing their ass off. And Tokugawa, who's there, he's like, hey bro, can y'all shut up for a second? The body doesn't have a soul. Of course, all the scientists are looking at this man crazy because that makes no sense. And then he's like, yeah, my older sister should wait. Older sister? Look at Tokugawa's little ass. He is old AF. And you're telling me this man has an older sister? Anywho, we meet said older sister, and the Baki nonsense is sent through the roof. Cause she's a spirit medium. And they bring her in to channel Musashi. And when one of the scientists didn't believe that she was legit, she channels his grandfather and tells him shit only that he would know. When she looks at the clone body, she's like, look at this man's face. He's way too handsome. This nigga has never been in a fight. And then she proceeds to channel Musashi. And to transfer the soul over, she proceeds proceeds to give this man the fattest, wettest, and sloppiest French kiss she could give him. And I bet you she was using tongue too, because when bro wakes up, he grabs her face and tosses her like a fucking bowling ball. Got this old lady over here ass tooted up in the wind, and look at this scientist over here looking straight at granny cheeks, bro. He interested. Anywho, Tokugawa gives Musashi some clothes, and they proceed to explain to him what's happened in the last 400 years that he's missed. Now, one thing I didn't expect was, one, how Musashi sounds, and two, how he acts. He seems like a normally kind dude until he start yapping about fighting and killing people. And this nigga is a troll, as you will see throughout this video. This entire season is just Musashi belittling everybody he comes across. The first person that got humiliated was Sabu. Bro pulled up with some swords, and the moment he stepped in the arena, Musashi already sliced this man several times. He's like, yeah, I could have killed you like 7 times now. And when bro gave Musashi his sword, he destroyed them shits with one swing. And then bro was like, damn, these swords are ass, not gonna lie, they couldn't even survive a swing. Completely humiliated this man. Anywho, the next Musashi victim was none other than Baki himself. Baki felt Musashi's presence while talking to Tokugawa and goes for a kick, only to get his leg chopped off. Hypothetically, of course. And bro still felt the pain. After talking to Musashi and successfully dodging one of his attacks, they decided to take the squabble outside. And of course, Baki's always up for a fight, but bro was not ready for the smoke, because when he attacks Musashi, bro gets his leg grabbed, holds Baki over his head like bro was a styrofoam cup, and then this man proceeds to swing him like a sword, instantly KOing Baki. Now bro, when I first watched this, I didn't think it was possible, because last time Baki fought, bro was getting smacked around like some nunchucks, and he blocked all the hits, even stunting on Yujiro by making him a toy. But one swing from Musashi and bro was out like a light. Now when bro wakes up, he comes back to Musashi, and he finds Musashi flexing. Tokugawa gave bro fresh bamboo, and man strips every single one of them down with a single swing. Baki, seeing this, is somehow not intimidated and still wants to fight. But Musashi's like, bro, you were passed out, dog. I could have killed you like 100 times over. But Baki launched a left jab, connecting with Musashi and dropping him on his knee. And here's the funny part, ladies and gentlemen. Musashi actually let himself get hit. And Baki's like, wait, so you think you could have dodged that? And Baki, being cocky, goes to launch another hit, only for Musashi to catch that shit before he could even throw it. And then bro slices Baki, sending this man into agony. Bro, look at his face. He looks like a JoJo character. After downing Baki again, bro hops over the wall to go and explore. And while he's out exploring, bro runs into some cops. And they're like, bro, can we get your identity? And bro's like, why? They're like, my nigga, you are walking around barefoot in a samurai uniform. But when bro tells them who he is, they of course don't believe this shit and tries to arrest him. And immediately gets clobbered. Of course, that raised Musashi's wanted level. And some more cops split up, only for one of them to get lifted with one arm and the other one smacked in the balls. Breaking news! A funny looking man walking around barefoot claiming to be Musashi Miyamoto has been assaulting police officers. Sources say these niggas can't touch him, and he is not above grabbing and squeezing your balls. Even with batons, the police can't do anything. So watch out for this dangerous man walking around barefoot. May I reiterate, he's barefoot. I do not know why they focused on him being barefoot so much, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, bro goes back to Tokugawa's, and some officers who were following him noticed. Minutes later, the police chief pulled up to his house to lay down the law. And that's when Tokugawa pulled one of the biggest non-fighting flexes I have seen in Baki. Bro's like, hey bro, tell the superintendent general to stay his ass out my business. And the guy had no choice but to listen. Meanwhile, Doppo pulled up to be the next victim. Doppo starts showing off by breaking bricks and cutting bottles with his bare hand. Musashi, after seeing this, decides to troll. Bro's like, my nigga, why are you breakdancing and like, am I supposed to be intimidated by that? Doppo fell for the rage bait, of course. But Musashi wasn't done. He pulls out his imaginary sword, cuts Doppo, and then laughs at this man after he reacts. And bro just socks him right in the face, dropping him on his ass. Doppo gets up and pull a one-handed handstand. And this is literally when you bust your ass in public and try to play it off by doing something cool on the ground or getting up in a cool way. Anywho, bro tells Musashi to get a real sword so they could actually fight. And Tokugawa came in clutch. Doppo jumps up for a kick, and Musashi responds with a sword to this man's face, putting him down. And then bro trolls even further by not actually cutting Doppo. Left him with a fat-ass red line in the middle of his face. After this, we pan to Retsu, who just finished boxing in America, and he decides he wanna be a victim too. And when bro meets Musashi, he attacked and got his leg grabbed just like Baki. Musashi breaks the prosthetic, but that didn't stop him from getting kicked and dropped on his ass. And here goes Retsu walking off off, making promises he can't keep. Now Motobe was training his ass off to apparently protect everybody from Musashi. Like, these are grown-ass niggas. Nobody is asking for your protection, bruh. Like, if Retsu wanna be a victim so bad, let this man be a victim in peace. Anywho, everybody's training their ass off before the fight, especially Retsu. He learns to master Shaori from Kaku, so Musashi would not be able to cut him because he is moving like feather. Just one tiny bit problem with that training. Musashi was doing some training of his own and has learned the skill of slicing feather mid-air. So yeah, all that training that Retsu just did, useless. Before the fight, Motobe pulls up to Retsu, of course, to spout his bullshit, telling Retsu he has to get through him first before he could fight Musashi. And of course, they get into a squabble, resulting in Motobe getting put on his ass by Retsu. Of course, he didn't take his out gracefully and decide he still wanna fight. So Kaku had to step in and knock his ass out to give Retsu a chance to rest before the fight. Now, day of the fight comes and Retsu starts off by throwing a shit ton of kunai at this man. But Musashi is no slouch, bro. Dodged, grabbed some of them, and slices the last one in half. So then Retsu takes off his shirt and starts throwing dirt in this man's eyes. Unfortunately for him, Musashi's a fish person and does not blink even though he got a teeth in his eye. Following this, Retsu distracts Musashi with his shirt, getting him good in the face with a 9-section whip. And then Retsu starts spinning him. Musashi, on the other hand, smiles. Like I've said for Toji before and any other menaces like him, if you're fighting somebody and you get them with a good hit and they smile afterwards, it's a surefire sign you're fighting a lunatic and there is no winning. Following that grin, Musashi catches his whip and yoinks them from Retsu. And here he goes trolling again. Bro says these shits have no weight and are made out of poor quality. Swings them bitches one time and destroys them. Mind you, Kaku Kaio says Retsu has been training with these things all his life and they have never broken. Musashi, trolling even further, gives Retsu his sword. And for the mistake of belittling Retsu, bro gets hit with a 4-hit combo and put on his ass. And Retsu's like, don't you ever in your life try me like that again, bruh. Bro had Musashi on the ground eating dirt and didn't finish the job. And so Musashi says his catchphrase.
King Retsu, you are already defeated.
Bro was flabbergasted everybody in the stands knew his catchphrase. And then he decides to continue trolling Retsu. Bro tosses his sword in the sand and approaches Retsu without his weapon. Remember last time he did that, Retsu said don't ever try him like that again? Well, Musashi took that shit as a challenge. Retsu throws a punch, gets blocked, but bro counters with the ponytail. Followed by a sweet chin music and I won't pass the ox egg, dropping Musashi on his knees. Retsu tries to go for a final kick, but got his peg leg grabbed. And Musashi was holding this man just like he did Baki. Of course, we all know what comes next. Musashi gets prepared for a sword swing, swinging Retsu face first into the ground. Even though Retsu bounced back up and stood, he was still KO'd. After Musashi flips him awake, bro whiffs a kick. And when bro goes to attack again, he gets blocked both times. When Retsu tries to kick, bro gets blocked and Musashi flips him, breaking his elbow in the process. So now one of his arms are useless. After being ragdolled, Retsu took Baki's stance. Musashi pulls up and decides to troll some more by attacking him with a scimitar and not actually cutting Retsu. When Retsu tells Musashi to finish it and he tries, bro pulls the Uno reverse with a heel to Musashi's face, dropping Musashi one more time. Everybody in the peanut gallery is like, oh, Retsu, that's my nigga, he did that shit. And look at him posing afterward. That's that 4,000 years of Chinese martial arts right there. While Musashi's trying to get up, Retsu goes for an attack, only to start getting strangled by Musashi. And then this man proceeds to completely tie this man Retsu up. Had that nigga sitting there like this was some corporal punishment, bro. You a child. Musashi comes back, unties his bondage, and tells Retsu he's gonna cut him with the next slash. Of course, Retsu prepares to use Shaori to avoid the slash, and he got his peg leg cut in the process. But ladies and gentlemen, all good things must come to an end. Retsu got sliced down the middle! No! Wait, the Shaori kinda worked, cause he didn't completely get sliced in two. It was a shallow slice. So instead of Retsu taking this as a sign he should really stop fighting, bro wants to do another clash against Musashi. Retsu launches into a punch, and Musashi retaliates, cutting the hand, but he wasn't able to go all the way through. Retsu thought, haha, I finally got you. Unfortunately, those are the delusional thoughts of a dead man, cause Musashi flips his ass and slices through his lower back. Man's even cut through the entire spine. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to grab your black suits cause we're going to a funeral. This was the end of Best Girl Retsu. I'm not crying, you're crying. Ladies and gentlemen, this was not the complete end of Retsu. If you want to see more Retsu after after Retsu died, bro got isekai in another world with Retsu. I really hope they end up adapting this into an anime. That shit gonna be lit. But if you haven't, go read it. Now after this, the police decided Musashi just committed murder, so he gotta go to jail. And they pull up with an entire army to arrest this man. But thanks to the influence of Tokugawa, they can't really do shit. They still pretend to arrest Musashi and take him to meet the Kendo champion, who thinks that Kendo is an evolved form of sword fighting. Of course, we all know that he's the next Musashi victim. When bro tries to square up to Musashi, trying to anticipate what this man's gonna do, bro casually walks up to him and whacks him with the bamboo blade. Had this man in pure pain and agony. Like, I don't even know what this man's actual plan was. Like, the guy just killed somebody. And you thought you could have done better? Anywho, the next Musashi victim is none other than Shibukawa. And he started off strong by landing Musashi on his back from a single handshake. And then bro drives a punch in his face for Retsu. After being flabbergasted at the technique that Shibukawa used, the fight begins. And Shibukawa immediately gets cut. And then this happens.
Mommy, help me!
See, this is exactly how you know you're about to be a victim. Unfortunately for Shibukawa, bro got cut before he even knew what happened. Of course, Shibukawa proceeds to pull some bullshit, and Musashi didn't fall for it. He goes for another handshake, but this time Musashi's ready. And Shibukawa was just getting sliced to bits. Panning over, Motobe decides to visit Yujiro and tells him that it's not worth it fighting Musashi. And Yujiro's face is here like, what the fuck is this nigga telling me right now, bruh? I know this nigga didn't just come to my crib to disrespect me. Yujiro gets mad, and bro gets even more mad when Motobe says he's going to protect him.
I'll protect you all, so you don't have to worry. I'll fucking kill you!
That dumb nigga Motobe knew to run his ass away. I swear, bro, I hated Motobe so much in this arc. Like, dude was just annoying. Yujiro got so mad he shook the entire building. Meanwhile, Motobe's over here with his knees shaking because he knew he was cooked. And then bro starts spouting off talking about he's gonna protect everyone. Like, you're scared of Yujiro. How are you gonna protect him when you're terrified of him? Anywho, Yujiro decides to pull up to Tokugawa's residence. And Musashi immediately recognizes his presence. They sit down and drink together, and Musashi tells Yujiro that he used to be famous back in the day, bruh. Bro had fame, hoes, bread, like he was him. And he wants to achieve the same thing in this period. And when bro tries to cut Yujiro, he couldn't get through. And he's like, damn, you strong body built ass nigga. You the first one I couldn't cut through with that. Yujiro cuts the top of a glass bottle, hitting Musashi and making him bleed. And of course, Yujiro starts flexing, telling Musashi he could never cut him without an actual blade. So Tokugawa gives Musashi some swords, and they step outside the squabble. When the fight starts, Yujiro grabs this man's sword and then palms his face, sending both of them flying. Cause Musashi's not letting go of his sword. Bro then flips Musashi back into consciousness. Musashi then goes to swing his sword, and Yujiro's still holding that bit. And in response, bro lifts Yujiro's big ass while he's still holding the blade, swinging him and making him let go. They square up again, and then Tokugawa starts having an orgasm about witnessing the two strongest men going up against each other. Musashi attacks, and Yujiro stops the first swing with his foot, but still got cut on his leg by the second one. And then bro weaved the third swing. They square up again. Musashi goes for a swing, and Yujiro grabs his hand before he could actually cut. And ladies and gentlemen, as I've said in all my Baki videos, it's not a Baki fight until somebody gets kicked in the balls. And this action out of everything made Musashi let go of his sword, cause man's just got kicked in his nuts by Yujiro. That is no small feat. Musashi somehow survives this, and so decides he finally found somebody that he could use his ultimate technique on. Bro goes for the attack, but then oh my goodness, bro, this bum ass nigga Motobe jumped in the way. Yujiro kicks his ass up and smacks the fuck out of him. And when Yujiro goes to finish this nigga, Musashi jumps in to stop him. And then Tokugawa decides the match is invalid since the bum ass Motobe jumped in. So Yujiro and Musashi decides to go on a walk together. And Musashi's like, oh shit, Yujiro, like, are you famous? Everybody looking at you. Anywho, they gotta drink together and talk. Yujiro actually praising Motobe for all the techniques that he's mastered, and saying that Motobe has found the perfect person to use all his skills upon, Musashi.
Huh. You're a kinder man than I expected.
Now, when Motobe was on his way back to his dojo, he runs into none other than Gaia, who was hiding on the ceiling during that entire fight with Yujiro and Musashi. He challenges his master Motobe to some sparring, and when bro attacks with a hidden blade, mans immediately gets tapped out and tied up for some going in deeply.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Anywho, Jack decides he wants to be the next Musashi victim. Bro pulls up to Tokugawa looking like a giant. Man's is 8 feet tall, 400 something pounds of pure Hanma muscle. But Tokugawa tells him before he could be a Musashi victim, he gotta fight Motobe first, who's trying to protect everybody. And so he decides to pull up on Motobe at the park. And that shit did not end well for Jack. Bro gets got in the eye with a cigarette butt, followed by the stick meter special, straight to the mouth. And I know Motobe probably got some dog doodle in the bottom of his shoe. And then Motobe hits him with a 1, 2, 3 hit combo with the bonk on the head. Bro got this man Jack with his ass out in the air in the middle of the night at the park, ready for some going in deeply. In response, bro kicks the fuck out of Motobe, sending this man like 10 feet, but not before getting stabbed in the foot with a kunai. In response, Jack decides to go for an axe kick to the head, but almost got his entire foot chopped off if he didn't have some strong bones. Since that didn't work, Jack decides to chop his shoulder off and proceeds to lose every single one of his teeth for his troubles. Look at the faces making, he got no teeth. Jack got so mad, bro just starts wailing on Motobe, hitting him up against the tree and just going crazy. Motobe had some gunpowder on him, and that shit exploded. Jack did not notice, and bro just continued wailing on this man with punches, lifting him off the ground. Motobe finally decides to retaliate with a kick to his face, and that's when Jack realized, oh, was there an explosion? Motobe then throws some shurikens at this man and pulls out the ball and chain. Bro rips Jack's legs from under him, and this has to be the funniest face Jack has ever made in his entire tenure in the Baki series. Anywho, Motobe then bonks him on the head with the weapon, smashes his jaw, and puts him in an armbar. And then bro proceeds to tie Jack up, ready for some going in deeply. Anywho, after Jack took his L, we pan to a reporter talking about an incident that happened. And while bro is reporting, an enormous dinosaur-sized alligator rises out of the water, with none other than Pickle strangling it. Bro then grabs his prey by the tail and drags him into the sewer, even though that thing could not fit. Motobe, witnessing this on the TV, threatens Tokugawa and tells him he wants to fight Pickle. This season of Baki is just as insane as the rest. Now, continuing where we left off, after Pickle gave the reporter the scare of his life, they decided they need to capture this nigga. So they dump a shit ton of chloroform in the sewer and finally captures Pickle. Everything was going great until Tokugawa brought Musashi in the room, and bro just started smacking the fuck out of Pickle to wake him up. After trying to cut him with his invisible sword, Pickle wakes up. Pickle tries to fight back against Musashi, but all efforts were in vain. Mans was getting chopped up like an onion. Musashi realizes he can't cut through Pickle, and then bro's like, damn, back in my days, I was him. I was cutting through 8 corpses like butter. But now, not only can't I cut through Yujiro's neck, I can't get through Pickle's dense-ass muscles either. Now, after witnessing this, Albert Einstein was not happy about this. Bro's like, yo, we got 2 scientific miracles here, and you guys are trying to have them fight to see who's stronger? We might lose one of them. But then Tokugawa responded and was like, hey, listen here, little nigga. Them niggas look like they want to square up. I want to see them niggas square up, so if you can't handle watching them niggas squabble, get your ass out the room. That shit was tough. Until Albert put this nigga pulled out a blank. He said, I'm shooting these niggas. He said, I ain't getting the fuck out of this room, bro. I'm blasting somebody. Bro's like, see, the moment I heard Tokugawa was involved, I knew some bullshit was about to go down. Now, unfortunately for Albert, Musashi is faster than his trigger finger, and not only broke this man's arm, but cut him several times. Great! But unfortunately for everybody else, Musashi now has a gun, and bro just starts letting shots off. After he was done, they finally let him square off with Pickle. Meanwhile, Albert's in the corner having an existential crisis after being cut by Musashi. Anywho, Pickle goes on the attack, tried to kick this man, and got countered. Bro then threw an uppercut and got his torso sliced. Pickle goes for a charge and knocks this man out of his sandals, and they start testing out each other's grip strength until Musashi decided to headbutt the daylights out of Pickle, dropping him to the floor. But Musashi was not done. Bro asked for a rematch, but this time with real swords. Of course, Tokugawa, the meat riders in the back, lazy, saying how Pickle's gonna be cooked if he fights Musashi with real swords. Meanwhile, Albert, hearing all of this, is getting stressed. Bro cannot believe his ears right now at what these niggas are saying. And then bro makes the mistake of grabbing Musashi's collar, but he got flung off like an ant. Hey man, say man, don't touch the drip like that, bruh. You touch my shit like that again, and I am going to cut your meat off. And then bro's like, Tokugawa, you guys still have my sword somewhere, right? And Tokugawa agrees, yes, they do have his original sword. And bro's like, oh shit, I'm about to show my ass, boy. I'm about to, this shit about to be lit. Now, before the fight with Pickle got underway, Gaia pulled up to lose even more aura than he already had in the last video. Bro tried to pull up on Musashi, thinking he was being slick, but Musashi has noticed this man since he started following him. Bro tried to fight Musashi with several weapons, but got completely humiliated. Like, Gaia has been losing aura ever since he showed up in this show. First, he got beat up by a 14-year-old Baki, then he tried to fight Yujiro and got his ass handed to him. Gained some aura after demolishing Sikorsky, and immediately lost it again when he tried to fight Motobe. And now Musashi handed him his ass. Like, at this point, Gaia, just go sit down somewhere. You used to be that guy, but they turned you into a joke. Anywho, we find out that Pickle hasn't eaten in 4 days. Bro plans on making Musashi his next meal. Look at him sitting there deep in thought. Ooga booga, nigga, when you get in this ring, I'm gonna eat your balls and your ass. Musashi gets in the ring, and Pickle wastes no time immediately lunging at this man. Musashi, of course, responds with a sword swing. Unfortunately, he's unable to cut through Pickle's muscles, and Pickle responds by clocking this nigga in the dome, sending Brody flying out of his chanclas. Now, I thought Musashi with a gun was peak lunacy, until Pickle with a sword jumped in the lobby. Bro's strong ass swung the sword and stuck it in the dirt up to the hilt. Musashi gets up like, damn, broski, not gonna lie, you rocked my shit. Had my ass face planting the ground. But you don't know how to use that sword, hand it over. Bro flicks Pickle in the eye, and when Pickle goes to attack, he proceeds to carve that man up. Tried to chop this man's elbow, shoulder, and kneecap. But again, he could not cut clean through. Until Bro had an epiphany and challenges Pickle to come eat his ass. And he was eager about that shit too. Look at him yelling at Pickle. Of course, Pickle takes the bait and chomps off Musashi's shoulder. But not without a cost, cause Pickle got got. The peanut gallery was flabbergasted. They thought this was the end of Pickle until Brody decides to transform. Now Pickle was ready to go crazy until he took one look at this man Musashi standing there smiling. And even Pickle, the beast who took on Truck-kun and won, realizes, hey yo, this nigga's a lunatic. And Bro did not want any of the smoke. Bro tried to walk off, but Musashi the lunatic blocked his path. Pickle's looking like, oh hell no, Ko, what is wrong with him? And that nigga Pickle skedaddled his ass out of there, straight into the arms of none other than Motobe. Everybody starts clapping cause Musashi has a new victim. But Motobe did not come to play. Bro off the bat throws some sand in his eye, grabs Musashi by his balls and slam him. And then Bro proceeds to toss this man like a football. Had Musashi hitting that sonic spin dash. Musashi, like the lunatic that he is, sits there like he took 0 damage, smiles and accepts Musashi's challenge. Musashi tried to poison him, but he saw that shit coming. And so Motobe tried to attack him with a cig in his mouth. But Musashi catches that shit aura farming, takes a puff, and is like, not gonna lie, Motobe, I just smoked your pack. Motobe didn't like this. So Bro grabs the bottle and smacks the taste out this man. Had Musashi's mouth doing the hokey pokey. Not only did Motobe slice the side of his face, but Bro shoved the rest of the cigarettes in his face, knocking him down. And without giving Musashi a single moment to breathe, Bro throws an explosive straight at Musashi. The peanut gallery is flabbergasted at this. Not 30 seconds later, Bro gets Musashi with another trick. He throws the sword, and Musashi catches it, of course, followed by Musashi throwing the scabbard that had another explosive in it, catching Musashi off guard. Bro immediately follows up by smacking Musashi's jaw. Gaara, not caring that he done lost all his aura, is fangirling in the stand. Anywho, Motobe is relentless, smacking Musashi again with the weapon. Musashi's unhinged ass shoved his finger through his cheek and tastes the blood. Baki watching this is like, hey yo, this nigga is just doing it because he's a lunatic. Now mind you, this entire time, Musashi has not gotten a single hit in. Bro haven't even gotten a chance to swing his sword. And the entire time, he's been telling Motobe, my good nigga, you done fucked up my face, and for that, I will smoke your pack. And this nigga starts listing off ways he's gonna kill Motobe. And then Bro's like, the choice is yours. Motobe trying to be a slick nigga is like, I wanna die from old age. And Musashi's like, well shit nigga, the first mistake you made was getting in the ring with me. So Motobe pulls out a short spear and strikes. Of course, Musashi cuts the spear in half, but gets countered by Motobe with a sweet chin music and I won't pass the ox egg. Followed by Motobe putting on some these ain't even brass knuckles, these shits are made out of titanium, and clocking the daylights out of Musashi. And then Motobe's gonna stand there trying to aura farm, talking about some, nigga, you thought you was the shit. You not even a fart. Oh my god, this nigga sucks. Musashi, of course, gets offended by his garbage-ass bars and slices Motobe. Luckily, Motobe was wearing some chainmail underneath, and that is the only reason he didn't get the Gojo treatment. Motobe thought he was being slick by wearing armor, but Musashi rendered that shit useless, cutting his arm. Motobe tried to quickly pull out a different weapon, but Musashi's quicker on the draw and slices Buddy's ankles, and then does a final slice through his shoulder. The peanut gallery's like, hey, yo, this fight is over. But I guess Motobe's ear stopped working because bro tackled Musashi and starts headbutting the daylights out this man, saying he wants to protect everybody. My good nigga, you are a victim right now. What are you protecting? Bro finally puts Musashi in a sleeper hold, biting and choking this nigga. Musashi stabs him through the shoulder, but Motobe did not let go. And in the end, bro choked out Musashi. Everybody starts clapping for Motobe, even though Buddy looks like a pincushion right now. After Musashi wakes up, Motobe reveals the fact that Musashi was going easy on him. Cause bro never actually tried to kill Motobe. He only struck where Motobe had armor and never even once tried to chop his head off. Musashi, after hearing this, takes his sword from this man's shoulder and tells Musashi to take his dub and go sit his ass on somewhere. Following this, Musashi decides to do a press conference. Bro's sitting there with an interviewer, and this interviewer starts doubting if it's actually Musashi. So bro slices his hand, and as he goes to describe the feeling to the audience, man sliced through his neck, and then responds, the interviewer's like, so Musashi, do you enjoy cutting people? Musashi's like, hell yeah, nigga, I love that shit. When I go to sleep, I dream about cutting people. When I wake up, I go find me somebody to cut. And you looking like somebody that needs to be cut. You ain't been putting any respect on my name this entire interview. And bro proceeds to cut this man with his invisible sword on live television. After that incident, the police decided they want to arrest Musashi again. Of course, Tokugawa's standing 10 toes for his dog. Musashi, on the other hand, pulls up and is like, not gonna lie, I ain't cut me a nigga in a couple of days. The superintendent general and his officers hearing this ran their ass away. They did not want any of the smoke. Now, Musashi decided it's time to get ready for war. Tokugawa's like, hey, Musashi, bro, if you leave my compound, there's nothing I can do to help you on the outside. And Musashi is such a kind man. He gets down to Tokugawa's level, gives him a hug, thanks him, and walks out. Straight into the police waiting for him. These niggas look so sorry with this. That's not even a fork, that's a toque. They say if Musashi doesn't come willingly, he's gonna become an enemy of the state. And Musashi's like, shit, the state about to lose its head. And bro, they started pulling out the blicks to catch this man. They're like, if you draw, we shoot. And Musashi proceeds to draw his sword, cut their stupid toques in half, and they didn't even realize he drew his sword. And Musashi proceeds to run a reverse jumping. Gets this scared ass officer in the face with, is that a drill bit? Crushes the head dude's eye and proceeds to knock out 5 other cops simultaneously. Buddy, realizing his eye is cooked, turned around and realized his entire squad got wiped. They tried surrounding him, but failed spectacularly. And look at this last cop. Buddy is spooked, staring this demon in the face. After he's finished, Musashi walked off like that shit was light work. Now, after getting his squad wiped, Buddy decides to pull up to Musashi under a bridge with 100 heavier armed cops, ready to grab Musashi. And the only thing this lunatic responds with is, take me if you can. So in response, Detective Otsuka decides to pull out a blick. We hear a gunshot, and Musashi walks out and throws the gun sliced in half to the head soldier. We later find out that he sliced this nigga in half vertically. Them niggas was living. And Musashi's like, hey, what are you mad about? He challenged me, so I cut him down. Now these quote-unquote heavily armed police officers decide to bring compressed rubber bullets as their weapon of choice. Of course, them shits failed against Musashi, so they decide to surround him next. And I kid you not, these niggas thought a water cannon was gonna stop this man. He just weaves that shit, runs to the truck, and slices the entire thing in half. Now look at your face. You're looking extra stupid. Even after witnessing that, they decided that their high-grade armor was the shit, and they can't possibly lose to one man. And the head dude starts talking shit. So Musashi's like, you talking all that shit, but not a single one of you are moving. Looks to me like you niggas are scared. So the superintendent pulls out a taser gun and fires, blasting Musashi with electricity. 500,000 volts of electricity. They turned this nigga Musashi into a human sparkler. Now, Captain Iwama over here looks like he's enjoying this shit way too much. And his subordinates notice this, so they quickly try to get this nigga to stop. After blasting Musashi, they think that this nigga is dead. Until Buddy started speaking. He's like, I'll remember your name, nigga. So bro quickly tries to go and press the trigger, and unfortunately Musashi was faster. And look at Buddy's face. He fully realizes that they are cooked, and Buddy starts shaking in his boots. Even worse, this nigga started peeing himself. Musashi, not understanding what the hell just happened, decides that this nigga was doing sorcery, so he gotta go, and decapitates the captain. After this, Musashi decides the moon looks so beautiful tonight, so now he's in the mood to start cutting some niggas. Everybody is spooked, and the bro pulled out to one of the officers and completely dices up his riot shield. Had Buddy completely flabbergasted. And then Musashi started commanding the niggas like he was the captain. He's like, hey bro, get this dead nigga off the floor and get the fuck out of my way. And Buddy just walked off into the moonlight. Now after this, we finally see Donald Trump and Baki. And what's worse is they call him Tramp. And Buddy is finally finding out about the US's non-aggression pact with Yujiro. And Brody is flabbergasted. Bro's like, what do you mean we gotta sign a non-aggression pact with this guy? We are the gun-toting US of A. I ain't signing shit with nobody, is what he said until he finally met Yujiro. And all of that shit went out the window once Trump laid his eyes on Yujiro's glorious glutes. Buddy pulled out the Bible with the quickness. And of course he peed himself in the process. And bro recited the oath. Now I thought Donald Trump being in Baki was wild, but they also got Hillary Clinton in this bitch. She thought she was gonna do some shit until she pulled out to Yujiro, and this nigga got his meat ready. Buddy got so offended by her trying to take this oath, he threatens to take her cheeks. And of course, Hillary skedaddled her ass out of there. Meanwhile, this was happening, Baki starts radiating himself in his psyche to fight Musashi. Now I couldn't make this video any longer because I'm going on vacation to see me baby and me wife. If this video gets 5,000 likes, I will get the final episodes of Baki-Dou to you guys expeditiously. And in the meantime, I'll be working on JJK Jumping's Part 3 in the second season of The Eminence in Shadow. Now if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.